Welcome to Zoe Stories. She secretly made me a girl. The soft hum of the city outside barely reached the small apartment where I lived, but inside, my thoughts were louder than any noise. My name is Alex, and to most people, I was just another 23-year-old navigating life in a bustling city, working a boring desk job, paying rent, and keeping to myself. But behind closed doors, I lived a secret life, one that I barely dared admit to even myself. I loved to cross-dress. Not just as a casual whim, but as a way to explore a side of me that felt entirely me. It was thrilling, intoxicating, and terrifying all at once. I glanced at the closet, feeling a familiar pull of anticipation. My clothes weren't just garments, they were gateways. Silk blouses, tailored skirts, delicate stockings, and high heels that made my legs look impossibly long. They all waited patiently for me, knowing that once I stepped into them, nothing about me would be the same. I had always been careful. Never out in public, never with anyone who could recognize me. It wasn't just a secret, it was a lifeline. Life had been manageable until Isabella came along. She was beautiful, radiant, and completely unpredictable, the kind of person who could light up a room without even trying. We met at a cafe 6 months ago, and in an instant, she became a part of my life. She didn't know about my secret yet, and I wasn't sure I was ready to tell her. But her presence stirred something in me, a mix of excitement and fear that had me questioning everything I thought I knew about myself. Isabella had this way of observing you, not just with her eyes, but with her entire being, as if she could see right through the walls you built around yourself. Sometimes, when she smiled or laughed, I felt exposed in a way I never had before. My secret life, my cross-dressing, suddenly felt fragile, delicate, like a glass sculpture that could shatter if handled too carelessly. And yet, the thought of sharing it with her, of showing her the side of me no one else knew, was irresistibly tempting. The apartment itself mirrored my duality. On the surface, it was neat and unassuming, filled with the mundane details of an ordinary life. A small couch with a coffee table, a modest bookshelf lined with novels and textbooks, and the faint aroma of coffee lingering from the morning. But tucked away in corners, hidden behind doors, were whispers of my other life. Mannequins dressed in my favorite outfits, boxes of makeup arranged meticulously by color and type, and shoes lined up like soldiers ready for inspection. Each piece told a story. Each item was a fragment of the person I truly was when no one else was watching. That evening, I sat on the edge of my bed, the apartment silent except for the soft ticking of a clock. Isabella had called earlier, saying she might stop by after work. My heart raced at the thought. I wasn't ready for anyone to see me like this, not yet. But deep down, I knew it wouldn't be long before my carefully constructed barrier would crack. There was something in her energy, something almost magnetic, that made me want to reveal everything, even though I feared the consequences. I reached for one of my favorite dresses, a deep emerald green that clung to my form in all the right ways. Running my fingers over the fabric, I felt a shiver of anticipation. The thrill wasn't just in wearing it, it was in the transformation, the feeling of stepping into someone entirely different, yet undeniably myself. I could almost hear her laughter echoing in my mind, imagining her reaction if she ever saw me like this. Would she understand? Would she accept me? Or would everything come crashing down in a moment of judgment? As I prepared, I couldn't ignore the conflicting emotions swirling inside me. Part of me relished the secrecy, the adrenaline, the private rebellion against the mundane reality of my life. Another part, smaller but persistent, whispered warnings. Don't get caught. Don't risk losing the fragile stability you have. It was a delicate balance, one that I had walked for years, and Isabella's presence threatened to tip it entirely. I dressed meticulously, each piece carefully selected, each accessory a calculated choice. The silk of the blouse against my skin sent a shiver down my spine. The skirt hugged my waist just right, the stockings gave my legs a sleek, elegant line, and the heels elevated me in a way that made my posture feel natural, yet empowered. I examined myself in the mirror, tracing the contours of my face with a fingertip, adjusting the wig that cascaded in soft waves down my shoulders. I hardly recognized the person staring back at me, yet I felt more like myself than ever. And then, as if on cue, my phone buzzed. A message from Isabella. "I might be there in 20 minutes. Can't wait to see you." My chest tightened. The thrill, the fear, the anticipation, it all collided in a rush that left me breathless. Would she see me for who I truly was tonight? Or was I about to take a step into a world where secrecy could no longer protect me? The city outside began to darken as evening fell, and I stood there, caught between who I was and who I longed to be. For the first time, the boundary between my secret life and the life I shared with Isabella felt alarmingly thin. One knock on the door could change everything. One decision, one moment of revelation, could alter the course of my life forever. And so, with a mixture of dread and exhilaration, I waited. Waiting for her arrival, waiting for the storm that I knew was coming, and waiting for the moment when the secret I had guarded so fiercely might finally be exposed. The room felt smaller tonight. Or maybe it was just me, curling inward with a mixture of anticipation and dread. Every shadow seemed longer, every sound sharper. I sat on the edge of the bed, fingers drumming against the emerald silk dress I had chosen hours ago. The fabric shimmered faintly under the soft lamplight, smooth and almost alive beneath my fingertips. I had worn dresses before, stockings, heels, but never with the thought that someone I cared about might see me like this. My secret world had always been mine to control. Tonight, that control felt slippery, fragile. Why did I even do this? I asked myself again and again. Was it vanity? Desire? Or the quiet rebellion of existing fully in a world that never let me be myself? The answer was always the same. I did this for me. Yet with Isabella coming over, the stakes shifted. What had been private pleasure now carried risk, excitement, and terrifying exposure. I stood and took a tentative step toward the mirror. My reflection was unfamiliar. The wig I had carefully styled framed my face in soft waves. The dress hugged my body in ways that made me gasp quietly, and the heels, perched on the floor, promised both elegance and precarious instability. Every piece of clothing had meaning. I felt like I was wearing not just fabric, but a version of myself I had hidden for years. The internal dialogue was relentless. What if she laughs? What if she's horrified? What if I can never undo this impression? Yet a countering thrill hummed beneath my fear. What if she likes it? What if she sees me, truly sees me, and it changes everything between us? The duality was intoxicating. My stomach churned, a mix of nerves and excitement that made my hands shake slightly. I paced back and forth, each step in my socks sounding louder than it should. In my mind, I rehearsed the interaction with Isabella. Should I hide the heels until she arrived? Leave the wig off, or fully commit? Every choice carried consequence, every decision a potential disaster or revelation. This thrill wasn't just about clothing. It was about honesty, vulnerability, letting someone see me in a way no one else ever had. Eventually, the dress called to me. I slid it on slowly, feeling the silk glide over my skin. The sensation was electric, intimate, grounding. The stockings followed, a second layer of transformation, making my legs feel longer, my posture sharper. When I stepped into the heels, the change was profound. Taller, more deliberate in movement, my presence different. I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror and nearly didn't recognize the person staring back. She was confident, poised, yet vulnerable. That vulnerability thrilled me more than I could admit. I ran my fingers through the wig, adjusting it, testing its weight and comfort. It framed my face perfectly, softening angles I was accustomed to seeing. My reflection smiled back at me, apprehension mixed with daring. "You can do this. You've done it before. You can handle it." The voice was steady, but inside, I was a whirlwind of nerves. And then there was Isabella. I couldn't stop thinking about her. Her laugh, the way she tilted her head when curious, the spark in her eyes when she noticed something unusual. I imagined her walking in, taking in the scene, her gaze landing on me. My chest tightened. Would she understand? Recoil? Every scenario ran through my head, each one more intense than the last. Yet the fear wasn't entirely negative. It was mixed with an undeniable thrill, the excitement of risking exposure, of stepping fully into my hidden self while someone else witnessed it. I sank onto the edge of the bed again, heels tapping lightly against the floor. The clock ticked slowly, each second stretching out endlessly. My phone buzzed, and I jumped, heart lurching. A notification from Isabella. "I might be there a little early, can't wait to see you." My stomach flipped. Early. Too early. Every preparation I had done, every careful step, suddenly felt rushed, inadequate. The tension was almost unbearable, yet I couldn't retreat. Not now. Not after imagining this moment for months. I rose, smoothing the dress one last time, adjusting the wig, testing the heels again. Each motion felt heightened, charged with electricity. I was aware of every movement, every sound, every breath. I was fully present, terrified, exhilarated, alive. Then the knock. Soft, deliberate, impossible to ignore. My heart skipped a beat. I froze mid-step, like a deer caught in headlights. The thrill surged through me, along with a fresh wave of fear. This is it. This is happening. The door handle turned, and suddenly, she was there, Isabella, smiling, radiant, casual yet magnetic. My breath caught, knees weak. The moment was here, the intersection of secrecy and exposure, fear and excitement. "Hey," she said, tilting her head slightly, eyes sweeping the space, then landing on me. "You look different." A shiver ran through me. Different. Intriguing. Dangerous. I swallowed hard. "Thanks," I whispered. "It's something I've been trying out." Her eyes sparkled with curiosity. My chest tightened again. This was only the beginning, the first step into a moment that would test my boundaries, my courage, and my identity. Because once the secret is out, there's no turning back. The door clicked open, and Isabella stepped inside. Her presence filled the space instantly, radiating warmth and energy. My heart leapt, pounding like a drum I couldn't control. She glanced around casually, eyes catching the faint glow of the lamp, the neatly arranged items, and then, finally, she looked at me. I held my breath, unsure if I should move, speak, or stay frozen in place. "You're different," she said, tilting her head, a playful curiosity in her eyes. Her words weren't mocking. They weren't judging. They were sharp, teasing, and full of intrigue. I swallowed hard, forcing a smile. "Yeah, I've been trying something new," I whispered, my voice trembling slightly. She stepped closer, her gaze lingering, studying me like she was trying to decode a puzzle she already wanted to solve. Every glance from her made my chest tighten. My heels felt taller, my legs quivering slightly from nerves. The thrill of being seen collided with the fear of being caught, creating a wild, disorienting high. "I like it," she said finally, a faint smile tugging at her lips. "You look different, but good. Really good." Relief washed over me, but it was quickly replaced by a fresh wave of tension. Could I trust her reaction? Was she genuinely impressed? Or was this a trap? A test? My mind raced with doubts even as my body reacted, posture straightening, shoulders back, chest out. I had to look confident. I had to act like this was entirely normal. I shifted slightly in my heels, testing my balance. Isabella noticed and smirked. "Careful there. Those things look dangerous," she teased, her voice light but teasingly sharp. I laughed nervously, the sound higher pitched than usual, and felt my cheeks flush. "Yeah, they're a little tricky," I admitted, adjusting the strap of the dress. Every movement felt exaggerated under her watchful gaze. Her eyes softened, but there was a glint of mischief. "You know, I didn't expect this side of you." "It's exciting," she said. Her words made my heart flutter. Exciting. That one word sent shivers down my spine. Exciting, dangerous, exhilarating, all rolled into one. I took a step closer, testing the boundaries of our interaction. My nerves screamed, warning me of the risk, but a daring part of me whispered, Go ahead. See how far you can take this. Do you want me to? I asked, my voice barely audible, hesitant. I mean, do you want me like this? She paused, tilting her head, her eyes narrowing slightly. The tension between us thickened, dense and electric. I think I do, she said finally, a slow smile spreading across her face. But you're making it hard for me to guess. You're teasing me. A shiver ran through me. Teasing. That word carried weight. She wasn't just observing me. She was aware. She was engaged, involved. Every moment I stayed like this, every movement, every glance, every subtle adjustment of dress or wig, she was noticing. I felt emboldened. I twirled slightly, letting the hem of the dress brush against my legs, testing her reaction. She laughed softly, a warm, amused sound that made my stomach flip. That's bold, she said, tilting her head. I like bold. Bold. That word ignited something inside me. The fear of exposure mingled with the thrill of being appreciated, being seen, being desired. My pulse raced, and I felt my cheeks warm again. But just as quickly, the tension returned. A noise from outside, someone moving in the hallway, a faint cough, made me freeze. Isabella noticed the sudden stiffening of my posture. You okay? She asked, her voice casual but sharp, scanning me carefully. I forced a laugh, shaking my head. Yeah, nothing. Just nerves, I guess, I said, though the truth was far more complicated. I was balancing excitement, fear, anticipation, and vulnerability all at once. She took another step closer, narrowing the distance between us. Her hand brushed against mine, accidental, or maybe not, and I felt a jolt of electricity. I realized then how delicate this line was, how every gesture, every look, every whispered word could tip the balance between revelation and concealment. I can't believe I never saw this side of you before, she said, her tone softening, almost contemplative. It suits you in ways I didn't expect. The words made my chest swell, but a new wave of anxiety hit. Suit me, but will it stay secret? Could I trust this moment to last? My mind raced with possibilities. What if someone else saw me? What if Isabella changed her mind? The stakes had risen exponentially in a matter of minutes. I adjusted the wig again, feeling the soft strands slip between my fingers. Every tiny movement felt charged, like the room itself was aware of the tension between us. My reflection in the mirror wasn't just my own. It was a shared reflection, a delicate interplay between me and Isabella, a dance of desire, curiosity, and unspoken questions. Her eyes held mine, piercing, teasing, and yet kind. I want to see more, she whispered, her voice low, teasing. I want to see what you're really capable of. A thrill surged through me, equal parts excitement and terror. The boundaries were being tested, pushed. Every risk I had imagined was now real, every secret a live wire under the skin. And yet, I wanted it. Every part of me wanted it. Because this was the moment I had been waiting for. The first real test. The first exposure. The first step towards surrendering fully to the thrill of being truly seen. The room felt charged with electricity, the air thick with anticipation. Isabella had stepped back slightly, letting me breathe, but I knew she was watching. Every movement, every subtle adjustment, every flick of the wig or twitch of the dress hem. I took a deep breath, trying to steady my racing heart. And then, deliberately, I moved toward the vanity. My fingers hovered over the makeup, each brush, each palette a tool of transformation. My reflection stared back at me, eyes wide, lips slightly parted, caught between fear and daring. With trembling hands, I picked up a soft blush. The powder felt foreign yet familiar as I swept it lightly across my cheeks. Isabella leaned closer, her gaze intense, observing every stroke. You're meticulous, she murmured, a smile playing at the corners of her lips. I like that. The compliment made my chest tighten. Her words carried power. Approval. Desire. The blush warmed my skin, a gentle fire igniting inside me, not just from the makeup, but from being seen, being observed, being admired. Next came the eyes. Eyeliner, mascara, tools I had used countless times. Yet tonight, they felt heavier, more meaningful. I traced the line carefully, feeling a rush with each sweep. My eyes became wider, brighter, a new persona slowly emerging. Isabella leaned closer, inspecting, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. "Your eyes, they're different like this," she said softly. "More alive."
Alive.
The word lingered in my mind, vibrating through my body. I realized I wasn't just playing dress-up. I was becoming someone new. Or perhaps someone I had always been, hidden beneath layers of fear and self-doubt. The thrill coursed through me, mingled with vulnerability. I shifted to the lips, the brush trembling slightly. A soft pink, carefully applied. I pressed my lips together, testing the color. My reflection smiled back, seductive and shy all at once. Isabella stepped closer, her breath warm near my ear. "That color, it's perfect for you," she whispered. My heart leapt. Her closeness made me hyper-aware of every nerve, every tiny movement, every subtle sound. The heels clicked against the floor as I moved, each step a deliberate, conscious performance. I felt both powerful and fragile, exposed yet confident. "Show me a spin," Isabella said suddenly, playful but commanding. I hesitated for a moment, then obeyed. Twirling slowly, the hem of the dress fanning out around me, I felt the transformation complete in that instant. My body, my movements, my reflection, all aligned. Isabella's laughter, soft and genuine, echoed through the space. "Wow, you really pull it off," she said, eyes wide. "I didn't expect this." Her words hit me like lightning. Expectation shattered. Approval given. The thrill surged, almost unbearable. I realized then that every step, every choice, every risk had led to this moment. The excitement, the danger, the vulnerability, all coalesced into a single, intoxicating high. But suspense returned quickly, sharp and sudden. A faint noise from outside, someone passing by, a door creaking, made me freeze. Isabella noticed my sudden stillness. "You're on edge," she said, raising an eyebrow. "Relax, unless you're hiding more than just your outfit?" The teasing tone sent shivers down my spine. Could she sense the depth of my secret? Was she probing, testing, daring me? The risk only heightened the thrill. I swallowed hard, forcing a laugh. "Maybe," I said, letting my voice tremble slightly. "Or maybe I'm just nervous." Her hand brushed mine, light, deliberate, and a jolt of electricity shot through me. The room seemed smaller, charged with energy. Every look, every breath, every movement became magnified, amplified. I was hyper-aware of the transformation, of Isabella's presence, of the duality of fear and exhilaration. I adjusted the wig once more, letting it fall naturally over my shoulders. The mirror reflected two versions of me, one timid, hesitant, the other bold, daring, alive. Isabella's eyes locked onto mine, unflinching, searching. "I want to see more," she said, voice low and teasing. "Show me everything you can do." The command was intoxicating. My pulse surged, my cheeks warmed. I realized that this was no longer just about clothing or makeup. It was about expression, identity, and desire. I moved with purpose, experimenting with gestures, posture, even the tilt of my head. Each motion felt electric, deliberate, a dance between fear and thrill, secrecy and exposure. A sudden knock on the door, quick, sharp, made my breath hitch. My body froze. Isabella glanced toward the sound, curious but unfazed. "Someone's out there?" she asked. I nodded, heart racing, aware that any moment could tip the balance between control and disaster. My fingers fumbled briefly with the dress strap, adjusting it under the tension. The stakes had risen. Every step, every spin, every glance could be observed by an unknown presence. But the thrill was irresistible. I moved closer to Isabella, letting my eyes meet hers. "I want to keep going," I whispered. "I want you to see me fully." Her lips curved into a slow, approving smile. "Then show me," she said. Don't hold back. And with that, the room seemed to shrink around us, the world beyond forgotten. The transformation wasn't just physical anymore, it was emotional, exhilarating, dangerous. Each movement, each glance, each whispered word carried weight. The thrill of exposure mingled with vulnerability, creating a heady, intoxicating mixture. This was no longer just dress up. This was revelation. This was trust. This was danger. And I couldn't get enough of it. The thrill of transformation still pulsed through me, but now it was tangled with a creeping sense of dread. Every sound outside the door, every whisper of movement, made my heart hammer in my chest. Isabella was close, her presence both comforting and intoxicating, yet every glance she threw my way reminded me how delicate this balance was. One wrong move, one slip of composure, and the illusion could shatter. I shifted slightly in my heels, feeling the tension in my legs and the dress clinging to my body. My reflection caught in the mirror, and I realized how fragile this moment was. The confident figure staring back at me seemed almost unreal. Could it really be me, standing here like this, transformed and exposed to someone I cared about? A sudden knock from outside, the sharp rapping of a neighbor at the door, made me jump. My fingers trembled as I gripped the edge of the table, the brush I had been using for makeup quivering in my hand. Isabella's eyes widened, but she didn't move. Instead, she tilted her head, a smile teasing the corners of her lips. "You're tense," she said softly. "Relax, or are you worried someone's going to catch you like this?" I swallowed hard, nodding. "Maybe," I admitted, my voice low. I don't want anyone else to see me." Her gaze softened, but the mischief remained. "Good," she whispered. "It should be just us. But it's exciting, isn't it? That fear, that risk." I nodded again, unable to speak. My pulse raced, my hands shook slightly, yet a thrill surged through me. Fear and excitement intertwined, creating a heady cocktail that left me dizzy with anticipation. I adjusted my wig nervously, glancing at the mirror. My reflection was perfect, delicate, feminine, but the tension of being discovered made it feel like a fragile mask. Every movement was calculated, every gesture deliberate, as if I were walking on a tightrope over a chasm. "Let's test it," Isabella said suddenly, her voice low and teasing. "Move around, show me what you can do when you're really performing." My legs trembled slightly as I obeyed. Each step in the heels was careful, calculated. I twirled slightly, letting the dress flare, my body moving in a rhythm I had only practiced in private. Isabella's eyes followed me intently, noting every subtle shift, every sway, every flutter of my eyelashes. "You're incredible," she murmured, a faint laugh escaping her lips. "I didn't know you had this in you." The words sent shivers down my spine. The thrill was intoxicating, but the danger still lingered. Every noise from outside, every shadow, every potential interruption kept my senses on high alert. I took a deep breath, steadying myself, trying to ignore the knot of anxiety in my stomach. Then, a louder sound, a door creak from the hallway, made me freeze completely. My heart skipped a beat. Was someone coming? Had they seen or heard something? Isabella leaned close, her hand brushing against mine. "Relax," she whispered, though her eyes sparkled with mischief. "Even if someone comes, it'll be fine. Maybe even fun." Her words should have calmed me, but instead they fanned the fire of anxiety and excitement alike. The idea of being caught, exposed, vulnerable, yet admired, observed, approved, it was overwhelming. I twirled again, slower this time, testing my balance. The heels teetered slightly on the polished floor, the dress clinging in all the right ways. My reflection stared back, perfect, delicate, feminine. But there was a wildness in my eyes I hadn't seen before. Isabella's gaze held mine, intense and probing. "You're hiding more than just a dress," she said softly. "I can feel it." Her words made my chest tighten. Could she see beyond the clothes, beyond the makeup? Could she sense the fear, the longing, the exhilaration that tangled inside me? The thought both terrified and thrilled me, pushing my emotions to a peak I hadn't anticipated. Another sound from outside, a faint cough, a soft shuffle, made me flinch. My fingers gripped the edge of the table, knuckles white. Every nerve in my body screamed alert. The thrill of exposure mixed with the fear of being discovered, making my head spin. Isabella stepped closer, brushing her lips near my ear. "Don't stop," she whispered. "I want to see every side of you, even the scared side." The words were electric. Fear and desire collided in a storm inside me. I shivered, then moved again, slowly, deliberately, testing every motion, every posture, every glance. The risk of discovery was real, but so was the intoxicating thrill of her attention. I realized then that this moment, this delicate, dangerous balance, was exactly what I had been craving. The combination of transformation, exposure, and Isabella's approval created a heady, nearly unbearable high. And yet, the suspense wasn't over. Every creak, every knock, every shadow reminded me that this moment could shatter at any second. Because once fear and desire mix this closely, there's no turning back. The room felt electric, charged with anticipation. Every nerve in my body was alive, every heartbeat pounding like a drum. Isabella's gaze followed me constantly, her eyes sharp, curious, teasing. I took a deep breath, forcing my hands to steady themselves. The dress clung to me in ways that were intoxicating. The heels made each step deliberate, each movement calculated, yet thrilling. I was performing, yes, but also surrendering, allowing someone else to see me as I had never been seen before. Isabella stepped closer, her presence overwhelming yet grounding. "You're trembling," she murmured, voice low and teasing. "Not just from the heels, I hope." A shiver ran down my spine. "Maybe just a little," I whispered, attempting to mask the wild mix of fear and exhilaration that coursed through me. I adjusted the wig, letting it fall perfectly over my shoulders, brushing lightly against my cheek. Every glance in the mirror reflected a version of myself I didn't always recognize, poised, delicate, seductive, vulnerable all at once. I almost didn't want to step away from it. Almost. "Show me everything," Isabella said suddenly, voice soft but commanding. "I want to see the real you, every side of you." Her words were a spark. My pulse raced, cheeks flushing, stomach twisting with anticipation. I twirled slowly, letting the dress fan out, testing my balance in the heels. My movements became bolder, more confident, yet each step was charged with suspense. What if someone walked in? What if I fell? What if? The thought of exposure made the thrill almost unbearable. Every sound outside, the faint creak of the floor, a distant laugh, a sudden cough, made me freeze and then move again, a dance of fear and daring. Isabella's hand brushed mine, lingering slightly. The contact sent a jolt of electricity through me. My breath hitched, heart racing. "You're amazing," she whispered, eyes locked on mine. "I didn't know this side of you existed." I swallowed hard, feeling the tension of every nerve in my body. The heels pinched slightly, the dress hugged too tightly, the wig itched subtly, but none of it mattered. All that mattered was the thrill of being seen, the intoxicating mix of fear and exhilaration. "You're not just playing dress up," she said, tilting her head, a teasing smile playing at her lips. "You're fully embracing it, and it's thrilling to watch." The word thrilling made my stomach flip. She wasn't judging me. She was observing, appreciating, enjoying the transformation. My mind spun with possibilities, the boundaries of comfort and exposure stretching further than they had ever gone. I moved closer to the mirror, testing the reflection, adjusting posture, letting my hands glide along the fabric, feeling the power of control and the vulnerability of exposure simultaneously. Isabella's gaze never left me, studying, teasing, encouraging. A sudden knock outside made me freeze. My fingers clutched the edge of the table, knuckles white. Isabella noticed, but didn't move. Instead, her eyes sparkled with mischief. "Scared," she whispered. I nodded slightly, pulse hammering. A little, I admitted. Every noise, it makes me feel like someone could see me at any moment. Her smile widened. That's the point, she said softly. The danger, the risk, it makes it exciting, doesn't it? I shivered, feeling the truth of her words in every nerve. Fear, desire, thrill, all tangled into a single overwhelming sensation. I twirled again, letting the dress fan out dramatically, testing the limits of my balance, testing the boundaries of exposure. Isabella's eyes were locked on me, absorbing every movement, every gesture. Yes, that's it, she whispered. Don't hold back. Show me everything. The words pushed me further. Every step became more deliberate, every glance more daring. The reflection in the mirror wasn't just my own anymore. It was a shared experience, a delicate balance between secrecy, desire, and revelation. And then it happened. A sudden, louder noise, a door creak from the hallway, made my heart leap. I froze, the heels threatening to slip beneath me, the dress suddenly feeling heavier. My fingers clutched the edge of the table desperately. Isabella stepped closer, hand brushing my arm. Relax, she whispered, lips near my ear. Even if someone comes, it's part of the thrill. The words were electric, dangerous. The fear of discovery mingled with desire, exhilaration, and vulnerability. I realized in that instant that I was no longer just performing. I was living this moment fully, entirely recklessly. I twirled one last time, slowly, deliberately, heels clicking against the floor. The dress flared, the wig fell into perfect place, and my reflection stared back. Bold, beautiful, exposed, alive. Isabella's gaze locked onto mine, unwavering. You've gone further than I imagined, she whispered. And I love it. The thrill surged, almost unbearable. I felt like I could collapse from the intensity, but the danger, the suspense, the risk, it all made me sharper, more alive than ever. And deep down, I knew, once this moment ended, nothing would ever be the same. The air felt heavier now, charged with the electric hum of anticipation. Every nerve in my body was alert, every heartbeat amplified. Isabella's gaze followed me constantly, her eyes gleaming with intrigue, her smile teasing yet knowing. I stood in the center of the room, heels clicking softly against the floor, dress clinging in all the right ways, wig perfectly in place. My reflection in the mirror stared back at me, a version of myself I barely recognized. Poised, delicate, alluring, but vulnerable. Every movement was a performance, yet it carried the raw weight of truth. And then the unexpected happened. The door handle rattled. My heart froze mid-beat. I knew Isabella hadn't invited anyone else. Someone was at the threshold, threatening to expose everything I had hidden, everything I had carefully constructed. Isabella's eyes met mine, sharp, playful, and knowing. Relax, she whispered. Let's see what you do under pressure. I swallowed hard. Pressure. Exposure. The words became real with every knock, every creak, every faint shuffle outside. My hands trembled slightly as I adjusted the dress strap, heels threatening to slip beneath me. My pulse raced as adrenaline surged, turning fear into an almost intoxicating energy. The door creaked open, just a sliver, and a voice, low, unfamiliar, called out, "Hey, is anyone here?" I froze, caught between panic and daring. Isabella stepped closer, hand grazing my arm, grounding me in the madness. Her touch was both reassuring and electrifying. "Go with it," she whispered. "Stay in character." I took a trembling step forward, adjusting my posture, letting the heels dictate my movement, letting the dress sway perfectly. "I'm just busy," I said, voice higher pitched than usual, trembling but deliberate. The figure outside hesitated. "Oh, sorry, didn't mean to disturb," the voice said, retreating quickly. The door clicked shut again. I exhaled shakily, my body trembling, and collapsed onto the edge of the bed for just a moment. The thrill was overwhelming, a cocktail of fear, excitement, and exhilaration. Isabella leaned close, her eyes sparkling. "See? You handled it perfectly," she whispered. I nodded, cheeks burning. pulse still racing. But the reprieve was brief. The intensity, the danger, the risk, it was addictive. I realized then that I craved this balance between exposure and safety, vulnerability and control. Isabella circled me slowly, eyes sharp, hands gesturing delicately toward the mirror. "Look at yourself," she murmured. "Really see it. See what you've become, what you can become when you push yourself." I obeyed, stepping in front of the mirror. My reflection was mesmerizing. The heels elongated my legs, the dress hugged my curves, the makeup accentuated every feature. And yet, beneath the surface, I could see the tension, the fear, the thrill, the raw humanity of it all. "You're incredible," Isabella breathed. Her words were electric, carrying weight I hadn't anticipated. "I didn't know you had this in you, this courage, this fire." I felt a jolt of pride, but it was tempered immediately by the fragility of the situation. The moment was delicate, dangerous. Every sound outside could undo it, every misstep could shatter it. And the thrill of walking that line was almost unbearable. I moved again, deliberately, slowly, letting each step in the heels resonate, each sway of the dress a declaration of presence. Isabella's gaze never left me, absorbing, analyzing, teasing, approving. "Now," she said softly, stepping closer, "let's test just how daring you can be." The challenge hung in the air, a gauntlet thrown. My pulse surged, stomach twisting with both dread and anticipation. This was no longer dress-up. This was a full immersion, a delicate dance on the edge of exposure and desire. Every motion became charged with electricity. I twirled, tilted my head, moved my arms, let my reflection guide me. The heels threatened my balance, the dress clung tightly, the wig shifted slightly, but none of it mattered. What mattered was the thrill, the danger, the intoxicating power of being fully observed, fully exposed, fully alive. And then another knock, louder this time, deliberate, demanding attention, made my heart leap. The room froze in that instant, time stretching taut, like a wire. The knock at the door still echoed in my mind, making every nerve tremble. My hands gripped the edge of the vanity, knuckles white, while my heels threatened to wobble beneath me. Every heartbeat was loud, every breath shallow, and every instinct screamed, "Be careful." Isabella's eyes gleamed with a mixture of mischief and approval. "You handled that well," she whispered. "But let's see how you handle this." Her words sent a shiver down my spine. What could possibly come next? The thrill of the unknown made my stomach twist, yet I couldn't resist. I straightened, adjusting the wig and dress, forcing my trembling legs to carry me with controlled elegance. Just as I began to regain composure, the lights flickered. A sudden, sharp buzz from the hall made my pulse spike. I froze mid-step, staring at Isabella. She smirked, clearly enjoying my tension.
"See?
Even a little unpredictability makes it exciting," she murmured. I nodded silently, swallowing hard, gripping the edge of the table for stability. My reflection in the mirror seemed almost surreal. The person staring back, high-heeled, makeup perfect, dress hugging curves, was entirely other. And yet, it was me, trembling under the combined weight of exposure, fear, and exhilaration. A sudden text notification on my phone buzzed loudly from the table. I jumped, spilling a small bit of makeup powder onto the floor. My pulse raced. Isabella's eyes sparkled with amusement. "Oh, now that's real danger," she whispered, leaning closer. "Someone could see, someone could find out." I scrambled to silence it, fumbling with the phone, the powder dusting my fingers and spilling onto the dress. My reflection seemed to mock me, poised and elegant on the surface, chaotic underneath. The danger wasn't just hypothetical anymore. My secret, my performance, my carefully constructed persona, it was fragile, on the edge of being shattered. I glanced at Isabella, who leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, smiling knowingly. "You're handling it," she said. "But let's push it a little further." A shadow moved across the floor outside the room. My heart skipped a beat. Someone unexpected was approaching. I realized that this wasn't a drill, a test, or a playful game. This was real. Exposure, potential discovery, humiliation, it loomed over me. I stepped back slowly, heels clicking against the floor. Each movement was a delicate dance, a test of balance, control, and composure. My chest tightened, stomach twisting with adrenaline and fear. Isabella's voice cut through the tension. Relax. Embrace it. This is what makes it thrilling. Every step, every sway, every second counts. The intruder's shadow appeared in the doorway, a figure tall, unfamiliar, glancing into the room. My body froze, every instinct screaming to retreat, to hide. Yet Isabella's presence was grounding, her hand brushing mine briefly, a subtle anchor amidst chaos. Smile, she whispered. Just keep being you. I obeyed, forcing a delicate smile, letting the reflection guide me. The intruder hesitated, eyes flicking between me and Isabella. A faint cough broke the silence, making my pulse hammer even faster. Everything okay in here? The voice asked, low and cautious. I nodded quickly, trying to mask trembling hands, shaky legs, and the heightened pulse racing through my body. Yes, just busy, I said, voice higher pitched than usual, deliberate, calculated. The intruder glanced at Isabella, who nodded subtly, and then stepped back, disappearing into the hallway. My breath hitched. The danger had passed, for now, but the adrenaline still surged. I sank onto the edge of the bed, heart racing, cheeks flushed. The thrill, the fear, the exhilaration, it was almost too much. Isabella leaned close, brushing hair behind my ear. See, she murmured. You can handle it. You're stronger than you think, and more daring than you realize. The words ignited something inside me. Courage, thrill, desire, fear, all mingled into a heady cocktail. I realized that the line between control and chaos, exposure and concealment, had never been thinner. Every motion, every glance, every word was now charged with risk. The room itself seemed alive with suspense, each shadow, each sound, each breath a potential threat or temptation. And I couldn't resist it. I twirled once more, letting the dress fan out, heels clicking with deliberate precision, wig falling perfectly into place. Isabella's eyes never left mine, absorbing every move, every gesture, every tremor of fear and thrill. You're remarkable, she whispered, voice low. Even in the face of risk, even under pressure, you shine. Her words, like fire, pushed me further. I realized that this wasn't just a performance anymore. It was an awakening, a revelation of self, an exploration of limits and desire, of fear and exhilaration. The room held its breath, the suspense thick, almost tangible. Every sound outside, every potential interruption, every glance between us was a reminder. The moment could shatter at any second. Yet I was alive, fully, dangerously alive. The room was silent, but the silence itself felt alive, pressing in on me from every corner. I was standing near the mirror, adjusting the wig for the 100th time, heels clicking softly, heart pounding. Every sound from outside, a creak, a cough, a faint whisper, made me flinch, reminding me of the precariousness of the moment. Then it happened. My phone buzzed again, louder this time. I froze mid-motion, pulse spiking. A message preview lit up the screen. Are you alone? I swallowed hard, staring at it. Isabella noticed my frozen expression and leaned close, eyes gleaming. Someone knows you're here, she whispered, voice low and teasing. Do you want to answer or ignore it? My hands trembled as I weighed my options. The thrill surged like electricity through my veins. To answer meant risk, exposure, vulnerability, but also excitement. To ignore it meant temporary safety, yet the curiosity gnawed at me relentlessly. I pressed the screen. The message was from Jason, a coworker who occasionally dropped by unannounced. Just checking in. Thought I'd see if you're free for a quick chat. Panic shot through me. Jason had no idea about my secret, about the transformation I was fully immersed in. If he saw me like this, if he knew, everything would unravel. My mind raced, adrenaline mingling with fear. Isabella placed a hand on my shoulder, grounding me, yet intensifying the suspense. "Don't panic," she murmured. "We can handle this, but you need to stay calm." I nodded, voice barely above a whisper. "Okay, but what if he comes in?" Her smile was devilish, playful, daring. "Then we improvise. You're stronger than you think, and more convincing than you realize." The seconds stretched into eternity. My legs shook slightly in the heels, hands gripping the table, mind racing. The thrill of near exposure mixed with the rush of transformation, delicate, intoxicating, terrifying. And then the knock. Sharp, deliberate, insistent. "Jason." My chest tightened, stomach twisting. I could feel every nerve on edge. My reflection in the mirror showed a poised, delicate figure, but the panic beneath the surface threatened to betray me. Isabella's hand brushed mine, sending shivers down my spine. "Trust me," she whispered. "Follow my lead." The door opened slowly. Jason's figure filled the doorway, casual, oblivious to the storm brewing inside. "Hey, thought I'd, oh." His eyes widened. He froze mid-step, taking in the heels, the dress, the makeup, the poised elegance that I had become. My heart hammered in my chest. Time seemed to slow. Every breath, every flicker of expression, every movement carried weight, suspense, and danger. I forced a smile, tilting my head, letting the reflection guide me. "Hi, Jason," I said, voice high, trembling but deliberate. "Just busy today." He blinked rapidly, trying to process the scene. "Oh wow, you look different." A thrill shot through me. Different, yes. Dangerous, absolutely. But alive. Fully alive in a way I had never experienced. Isabella stepped closer, subtle, commanding, a silent signal. She whispered, "Keep him talking, stay in character." I obeyed, trembling but deliberate, improvising every word, every gesture, every flick of the hair. Jason's curiosity piqued, but my poise held, fragile yet undeniable. The danger lingered like a live wire, electric, thrilling, consuming. Minutes stretched, each one an eternity. My body shook slightly from adrenaline, yet the thrill, the fear, the exhilaration surged stronger than ever. Every glance, every motion, every heartbeat became amplified. The risk of exposure loomed, but the rush of being fully seen, fully alive, was intoxicating. Jason finally spoke, voice cautious. You're different. Really different." I should probably go." I nodded, relief mingling with lingering excitement. "Yeah, probably a good idea," I said, forcing calm into my tone. As the door clicked shut behind him, my body sagged in exhaustion, adrenaline still surging. Isabella stepped closer, her eyes gleaming with approval. "See," she whispered. "You handled it perfectly, even under real pressure." I exhaled shakily, heart pounding. The room seemed to hold its breath, alive with the tension that had just passed. The thrill of near exposure, of danger, of performance under pressure. It was intoxicating, consuming, unforgettable. And I realized something crucial. The fear, the risk, the thrill, they were part of me now. The transformation wasn't just physical. It was emotional, psychological, profound. I had faced danger, exposure, and vulnerability, and I had survived, grown, and thrived. The room was thick with tension, almost suffocating. My heels clicked sharply against the floor as I moved, each step deliberate, controlled, yet trembling with anticipation. The dress clung to me tightly, every curve accentuated, every movement amplified. The wig fell perfectly over my shoulders, yet I could feel the slightest shift, the faintest imperfection, threatening to betray me. Isabella circled me, eyes sharp, lips curved in a teasing smile. "You've done so well," she murmured, voice low and intoxicating. "But now we push further." Push further. The words sent a thrill through me. Fear, excitement, desire, all tangled into a whirlwind inside my chest. My pulse raced, breath shallow, hands trembling slightly. I knew she wasn't exaggerating. The ultimate challenge wasn't just about appearance. It was about risk, exposure, performance under pressure, and embracing every vulnerability. A sudden knock at the door made my heart leap into my throat. This time it wasn't hesitant, it was insistent, deliberate. My mind raced. Could it be Jason again? Another unexpected visitor? Someone who might unravel everything? Isabella leaned close, brushing a hand along my arm. "Stay calm," she whispered. "Trust me, and trust yourself." I nodded, swallowing hard. My reflection in the mirror stared back, poised, elegant, yet every inch of me was alive with tension. The reflection was almost unreal, perfectly feminine, delicate, seductive, but I knew it could all collapse in a single moment. The door opened, revealing an unfamiliar figure, a friend of Jason's, tall, inquisitive, eyes narrowing as they assessed the scene. "Hey, I thought I'd check in," the person said cautiously, stepping into the room. I froze, every instinct screaming to retreat, hide, undo the transformation. But Isabella's hand on my shoulder was grounding, electrifying, daring me to continue. "Stay in character," she whispered. I took a shaky step forward, heels threatening to wobble beneath me. Voice high, deliberate, trembling yet controlled, I said, "Oh, hi. I'm just busy right now." The person's eyes flicked between me and Isabella, suspicion mixing with curiosity. Every muscle in my body tensed, adrenaline coursing like wildfire. The thrill of near exposure surged, nearly unbearable, yet intoxicating. Isabella's voice was a low murmur at my ear. "Keep moving, every gesture counts. You're doing perfectly, but don't let them catch your hesitation." I twirled slowly, deliberately, letting the dress fan out, letting the wig shift just enough to appear natural. Every motion was charged with energy, every glance calculated, every word a delicate balance. The intruder moved closer, inspecting me. "You look really different," they said cautiously. "Is this a costume?" I laughed softly, a high, melodic sound. "Maybe just trying something new," I replied, forcing casual confidence, trembling inside. Minutes stretched like hours. Each second carried weight, risk, thrill. My hands shook, legs burned, pulse thundered, yet I maintained poise, elegance, and charm. Isabella's gaze never wavered, absorbing every movement, every micro-expression, her presence both comforting and electrifying. Then, the twist. The friend leaned closer, reaching toward my reflection in the mirror. "You're amazing," they murmured. "How do you?" Time slowed. The risk of exposure was immense. One slip of balance, one stuttered word, one misplaced gesture, and it could all collapse. My chest tightened, stomach twisted, sweat prickling at my hairline. Isabella whispered urgently, "Now. Show them everything, fully commit." I inhaled deeply, summoning courage, desire, thrill, and fear all at once. I twirled again, letting the heels click sharply, letting the dress sway dramatically, letting my hands glide gracefully along my curves. Every glance in the mirror, every flick of hair, every subtle shift was deliberate. The intruder stepped back, astonished. "Wow." I didn't expect. I smiled, breath shaky but confident, pulse still racing. "Sometimes it's fun to surprise people," I whispered, letting the thrill of exposure, risk, and transformation wash over me completely. Isabella's hands rested on my shoulders, grounding me, approving me, daring me further. "You've done it," she murmured. "You've faced the fear, embraced it, and conquered it." The intruder's eyes lingered on me, awe and curiosity mixing with disbelief. I realized then that the danger, the suspense, the fear, they were intoxicating, thrilling, empowering. I was alive, fully, in a way I had never experienced before. And yet, the room held its breath, the tension thick, suspense lingering like a living thing. One wrong move, one unexpected interruption, and everything could shatter. But I didn't care. Because I had embraced it. Every risk, every thrill, every vulnerable, electrifying second. The room was electric with suspense. Every sound, the faint hum of the air conditioner, the soft creak of the floorboards, even the distant noise from outside, felt magnified, threatening to unravel everything. My heels clicked sharply as I shifted weight from one foot to the other, every motion deliberate, yet trembling with adrenaline. The dress clung to me like a second skin. The wig settled perfectly, and my reflection in the mirror seemed almost surreal, a poised, delicate, feminine version of myself, alive with tension and anticipation. Isabella's presence was a grounding force, but also a challenge. Her eyes sparkled with mischief, her smile teasing, daring me to push further. "You've faced fear, exposure, and uncertainty," she whispered. "Now it's time for the ultimate test." I swallowed hard, feeling a shiver run down my spine. The ultimate test. My mind raced. I had navigated near exposure, improvised under pressure, and maintained poise despite the adrenaline coursing through me. But what could possibly push me further? What could surpass the tension, the thrill, the near disasters of the past hours? The answer arrived in a sudden knock, louder, more insistent than before. My chest tightened, stomach twisting, every nerve alive. Isabella's hand brushed mine, grounding me yet electrifying my senses. "Don't panic," she murmured. "Just stay in character and trust yourself." I nodded, forcing a shaky smile, heels clicking as I stepped toward the door. The handle turned slowly, revealing Jason again, but this time not alone. Behind him stood another coworker, someone I hadn't expected, someone who could see through any facade, anyone who might unravel the delicate balance I had maintained. My heart hammered. Panic surged, yet beneath it, a strange thrill took hold. The danger was real, exposure imminent, yet exhilarating. Isabella's whisper cut through my racing thoughts. "Show them. Every part of you. Be fearless." I swallowed hard, stepping fully into my high-heeled persona. Voice higher, deliberate, trembling slightly, I said, "Hi." I wasn't expecting anyone, just busy with something. Jason's eyes widened, curiosity and confusion battling for dominance. The other coworker stared, mouth slightly open, astonishment clear. My hands trembled but moved gracefully along the dress, adjusting the fabric, the wig, every movement precise yet delicate. Isabella's voice was soft, yet commanding. "You're doing beautifully. Keep it steady even if everything feels like it could collapse." The intruders advanced slightly, peering closer, inspecting, analyzing. Every motion I made carried weight, suspense, and the thrill of near discovery. My pulse raced, adrenaline threatening to overpower every rational thought, yet I forced poise, elegance, and control. You look amazing," Jason finally said, voice hushed, awe and disbelief mingling. I didn't expect this at all." The other coworker nodded, eyes wide. "Seriously, you're different. Incredible." Relief washed over me, but it was tempered immediately by lingering tension. The danger hadn't fully passed. Exposure had been avoided, but barely. My body trembled from adrenaline, yet a fierce exhilaration coursed through me. I realized then that the thrill of being fully seen, fully exposed, fully vulnerable, it was intoxicating, empowering, addictive. Isabella stepped closer, hand brushing my arm, grounding me. "You've done it," she whispered. "You've faced fear, exposure, risk, and you thrived." I let out a shaky laugh, the heels clicking as I twirled delicately, letting the dress fan out, wig brushing my cheek. Every glance in the mirror, every subtle movement, every whispered word of encouragement from Isabella had brought me to this moment. I wasn't just performing anymore. I was alive, fully, electrifyingly alive. And then, a subtle sound. The front door opened from somewhere else in the building. Another figure appeared in the hallway. Unexpected, silent, moving toward the room. My pulse spiked violently. This wasn't in the plan. The risk of exposure surged again, tension peaking. Isabella's hand tightened on my arm, eyes locking onto mine. "One more step," she whispered. "Just one and then we'll see." I took a deliberate breath, letting heels click with controlled precision, letting the dress sway dramatically, letting every gesture, every glance, every motion reflect confidence, poise, and vulnerability simultaneously. The figure in the hallway paused, peering in, hesitation written across their face. My breath hitched, heartbeat racing. And in that frozen, suspended moment, I realized something profound. I had faced fear, risk, exposure, and vulnerability, and I had survived, thrived, and transformed. Isabella's smile was the final spark. "You've become unstoppable," she whispered. "No one can take this from you. Not fear, not risk, not discovery. You own this." The intruder hesitated, curiosity battling caution, and then slowly retreated. The room seemed to exhale, the tension finally easing, but the thrill, the fear, the exhilaration lingered, electric, intoxicating, unforgettable. I sank onto the edge of the bed, chest heaving, pulse still racing. Every sense was alive. Every nerve tingled. The transformation wasn't just physical, it was emotional, psychological, and profound. And deep down, I knew the story was far from over. The thrill, the suspense, the danger, it had only just begun. The room finally seemed to exhale. The intruders had retreated, the immediate danger had passed, but the thrill lingered like a live wire running through every fiber of my being. My heels still clicked softly against the floor as I shifted on the bed, the dress clinging perfectly, the wig slightly disheveled from the evening's chaos. Every breath was still sharp, every nerve alive with adrenaline. Isabella leaned against the doorframe, her eyes gleaming with pride and amusement. "You were incredible," she whispered. "Every single second you faced fear, exposure, and temptation, and you came out stronger than ever." I let out a shaky laugh, still trembling, still vibrating with the intensity of the night. I can't believe I survived that," I admitted, voice quivering. Every moment, I thought I'd fail, that someone would see, that it would all collapse. Her smile softened, her fingers brushing gently against mine. "That's exactly why it was so powerful," she murmured. "You were scared, vulnerable, but you didn't break. And now you're unstoppable." I sank into the bed, still trembling slightly, but a strange warmth filled me. The fear, the tension, the exhilaration, it had all changed me. I wasn't just performing or hiding anymore. I was alive, fully, dangerously alive in a way I had never imagined. And yet, the room wasn't completely safe. The echoes of the intruders' voices, the lingering shadows in the hallway, the faint possibility of discovery, they hung like a whisper at the edge of my mind. My heart still raced at every creak, every footstep, every shift of air. The thrill of near exposure had become intoxicating, addictive. Isabella stepped closer, kneeling beside me on the bed. "You realize," she said softly, "that this is only the beginning, right? The risk, the thrill, the danger, it's never really over." I swallowed hard, realizing she was right. Each moment, each step, each decision now carried weight. My double life, my cross-dressing, the secret thrill, it was fragile, electric, exhilarating, and terrifying. A faint sound outside the room made me flinch. I held my breath. The front door had opened again, and footsteps, slow, deliberate, echoed down the hallway. My pulse spiked violently, adrenaline surging through every vein. Isabella's hand gripped mine, grounding me, daring me. "Remember," she whispered, "you're stronger than fear. You're braver than hesitation. And you're more captivating than anyone could ever imagine." I nodded, swallowing hard, voice barely above a whisper. I think I can handle it," I admitted. "But what if I can't?" Her smile was mischievous, electric, dangerous. "Then we'll face it together," she said. "But I have a feeling you're going to surprise even yourself." I glanced into the mirror. My reflection stared back, high-heeled, perfect, delicate, transformed, alive with tension and thrill. But beneath the poised exterior, every nerve, every thought, every heartbeat was raw and electric. I was someone new, yet somehow entirely myself. And then the softest click. The doorknob turned slowly. My heart froze. The shadow appeared in the doorway, a figure neither of us expected. My pulse raced so fast it felt like it would burst from my chest. The figure stepped inside, eyes wide, taking in everything. The dress, the heels, the makeup, the poise, the delicate vulnerability I had worked so hard to maintain. I swallowed, breath caught in my throat. Isabella's hand tightened on mine, grounding me, daring me. "Go," she whispered. "Own it. Face it." I straightened, wig brushing my cheek, heels clicking softly, dress swaying with deliberate precision. Every fiber of me screamed with fear, exhilaration, and anticipation. Every instinct, every heartbeat, every micro-expression became a declaration of who I had become and who I could be. The figure paused, lips parting slightly, eyes locked on me. Time seemed to freeze. The thrill of exposure, the intoxicating danger, the raw, electric vulnerability, it all converged in that single, suspended moment. And then the screen cut to black. The suspense hung, unresolved. The question lingered. Would I be exposed? Would Isabella's daring gamble pay off? Or had the danger finally caught up with me? The answer was unknown. The tension remained, thick, electric, inviting speculation. Viewers were left on the edge of their seats, hearts racing alongside mine, minds spinning with possibilities. One thing was certain. Nothing would ever be the same again. Every step, every decision, every risk from now on would carry the weight of fear, excitement, and desire. And deep down, I knew I was ready for it, even if I didn't yet understand the consequences. The screen faded, leaving the echo of heels clicking, the shimmer of the dress, the glint of the wig, and the lingering thrill of transformation. The story wasn't over. The danger wasn't gone. And the next chapter, more daring, more suspenseful, more electrifying, was waiting.